What is going on, everybody? It's Mike Collier with Midlife Fitness. It's Thursday, it's the day after Christmas. Hopefully, everybody had an amazing holiday. I know that I did. And you're here ready to talk about your health and fitness journey, starting or restarting it. If you don't already know who I am, I help midlife men and women lose weight, build muscle, improve energy, and develop healthy habits that lead to lifelong change. I like doing these on a weekly or semi-weekly basis to kind of give you guys some value, help you along on that journey. I'm just making sure everything's getting set up here. Um, and help support you and provide you some tips, some motivation, some information to help you get started or continue on your journey. And like I said, hopefully help you on your way. It's a lot easier when you're being supported, even with perfect strangers. Sometimes and just realize that you're not alone in this, this is something that I know that I struggled with for many, many years, decades, before I finally figured it out. So I wanted to kind of share that and help people along on their own journeys. So we are live here. I've got my Facebook up. Yep, and I'm live. So if you have questions, um, comments, whatever, feel free to DM me. So I should be able to see those live and can answer them right on here. Uh, or if you're catching this on the replay, you have a question after the fact, feel free to throw it in the comments, or you can still DM me and ask your question if you don't feel like asking it in front of everybody. But like I always say, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Believe me, you're not the only one that's wondering that. So make sure to throw your questions in there, and you have no idea who you could be also helping in getting that question answered, or it might bring up other questions or ideas or things that I haven't thought of, or maybe some topics to talk about in the future, which kind of leads me to that too. If there's something that you guys have, like I said, my goal is to give you some value and help you on this journey. So if there's specific topics or things that you have questions about or want information on, feel free to DM me or throw it in the comments, and I'll definitely cover it in the coming weeks, if at all possible. So, all right, here we go. Let's get into this. I'm not on the right screen. All right, let me share my screen here. Okay. Hopefully you can see this. All right, here we go. So again, it's the day after Christmas. Hopefully everybody had an amazing Christmas and everybody had fun engaging with friends, family, enjoyed amazing food, uh, had good times, made memories, all that stuff. So kind of the reason why I wanted to bring this up is this is that time of the year, and I know that I've gone through it a million times myself, where you are overindulging and best laid plans, right? You go into this thing, okay, I'm only gonna have like X amount of sweets or whatever it is, and then you end up just like blowing it out of the water. So then then you feel guilty, which you shouldn't. But you feel guilty and you're like, oh man, I gotta start, starting January 1st or starting Monday, like whatever that declaration is that you want to make to yourself. Thinking to yourself that I'm gonna get started again on my fitness journey. I'm gonna improve myself. So that's why I want to do this now, because everybody's kind of having those feelings. We're getting towards January 1st. Many, and I can't remember what the percentage is, it's over 50%. I want to say it's like 70 to 80% of people have a fitness related New Year's resolution. Okay. But very few of those are able to actually follow through on that. So, what I wanted to do is, again, this is timely. So, provide you guys with information to get started or restarted on your health and fitness journey, but to do it in a way that this is going to be something that you can sustain and have long-term success with. Because I know that every year after year after year, I went through the same thing where, new year, new me kind of thing, and I was going to rededicate myself. But I just kept doing the same thing over and over again and making the same mistakes and then having the same outcomes every time and never stuck with it. So hopefully, I'll give you guys some ideas to hopefully break that cycle and actually have it stick. Even if it's just like one or two things that might like resonate with you that makes a huge difference. Sometimes that's all it takes. But again, my goal is to help you guys and make this a sustainable thing. So you get off that roller coaster of wins and losses and progress and setbacks and all that stuff and can make some long-term success. Okay. So let's get into this. So this one's getting started or restarted on your health and fitness journey. All right. So it always has to start with why. you've got to know why you're doing this. All right. And you've got to like really have clarity on it. Okay. So understand what your personal motivation is for doing this. So like ask yourself, like, why do I want to, whatever it is, improve my health, improve my mobility, like improve my flexibility, my endurance, whatever it is. Define your why. Okay. And it's got to be very specific. And when I usually talk to people, I'll ask them, okay, what are your goals? And why do you have these goals? And I'll get very general answers sometimes. Like, okay, my goal, the one that I hear a lot is I want to tone up. I want to lose fat and tone up. Okay. Okay, I understand that. As a trainer and hearing people talk about that for years, I know what you're thinking. But I want to hear you kind of work yourself through that. I want to hear like the real reason. So it's typically when people say, let's say that's their goal, right? That I'm the trainer, I ask them what's your goal? I want to tone up. Okay, well, what does that mean to you? And so I'll start asking like this, and it's really annoying to people, but play this game with yourself. It's called the five whys. So ask yourself, like, okay, well, why do you want to tone up? Okay, what does that mean? And usually you'll get like another layer of that answer. Okay, the other layer is, well, because when I, lose body fat and gain some muscle, or I start seeing some muscle definition, like I fit in my clothes. Okay, so then you ask yourself, okay, well, why do you want to fit better into your clothes? Okay, well, then you explain a little bit more. Well, I want to fit better into my clothes because when I feel, like I look good or I fit better in my clothes, I feel confident in myself. I feel more comfortable in my skin. I feel confident. Okay, well, why is that important to you? Okay, that's the other why. I think we're on the fourth one now. Why is that important to you? Well, because when I feel confident in myself, I feel like I can engage with strangers. I feel more confident at work. I feel, um, more engaging and more present with my family. All right. And then the last why. Okay, well, why is that important? Why do you want to be present with your family and engaging? And it's because, well, because my family is very important to me. I want to make sure that I am there for them, that I show up for them, that I enjoy them, that they can enjoy me and get every ounce of life out of this life that I have while I have it. Um, so there it is. That's the real reason. That's the deep reason, and that's the thing that's really going to get you motivated. So we've gone from I just want to tone up to I want to feel confident in myself, be more engaging, show up for my family and my friends, be more confident at work, be a great leader, like whatever it is. Okay, so you can kind of see like that's a bigger reason, and when the reason is means more to you than I just want to tone up, then it's gonna be important for you, and it's gonna become a priority. If your goal is just to tone up, what does that really mean, right? What does it mean, and why should that be important to you? So ask yourself, play these games with yourself, ask yourself why. Write it down on a piece of paper. It's really cool to write things down in journal because you can always refer to it later. And it's just kind of cool to see that. And you can kind of see like how you've, met your goals or if anything, it's a good reminder of when those times get kind of hard. And then you kind of remind yourself why you started doing this in the first place. Okay. So define your why. All right, moving right along. So set realistic goals. And now I'm going to talk very briefly about SMART goals. You guys have all heard about these a million times. I've talked about a million times. But you've got to set realistic goals, like goals that are achievable. If you're setting yourself for failure right off the bat, you're not going to be successful. And then you're just going to be frustrated and you're going to be in this, like I said, this roller coaster and this cycle of failing all the time. Okay, restarting and stopping again. So set realistic goals. An unrealistic goal would be something like, I want to, get 5 inches taller. Well, that's probably not going to happen. So you're setting yourself up for failure. So set something that's realistic. So when I'm talking about SMART goals, if you don't already know what they are, so SMART goals are the goal has to be specific. All right. So you can't, so kind of my speech on this is having clarity on your goals, and it kind of goes along with your why, but having clarity on it. So if your goal is just to lose weight, okay, well, what does that mean? All right. So as a trainer, like if I ask that question, like, well, what does that mean to you? Or even in your own head, you say, I want to lose weight. Okay, well, what does that mean? Does that mean like 1 pound? Does that mean 50 pounds? Does that mean 100 pounds? Technically, you lose 1 pound, you've met your goal, right? You've lost weight. Most people, I don't think that's their long-term goal. But again, you've got to have clarity on it. And the example that I always use is you've got to realize like your brain is an amazing your whole body, but your brain's an amazing machine. And I kind of compare it to a GPS. A GPS is an amazing piece of technology. You put in an address where you want to go. It'll take you turn by turn. It'll tell you exactly when you're going to get there, by the minute typically. Um, all that stuff, hazards along the way, everything. But you got to be very specific. So if you were to put in your GPS, let's say you want to go to a baseball game in Chicago, all right? And that's what you put in your GPS. Well, where are you going to end up? You're going to end up a couple different places, right? You can end up at a Cubs game, you can end up at a Sox game, you could end up at a high school baseball game, right? So many different outcomes if your goal is very general like that. So it's the same way with your whether it's your weight loss goal or mobility goal or endurance goal, whatever it is, it's got to be very specific. All right. Otherwise, it's not going to be important to you. It's going to be very easy to stray off of it because you don't have clear cut and set parameters and defined parameters. So it's got to be very specific. The M is for measurable. It's got to be something that you've got to be able to measure. You got to know if you're making progress or not, right? The easiest one is if you have a weight loss goal, is using the scale to measure your progress. Again, not my favorite, but I get it. We've all been conditioned to use that scale as the instant, feedback of whether or not we're reaching our goals. I could do a whole other, and maybe I will do a whole other presentation on not using the scale to judge your progress. But that's just a good example, okay? But something measurable, or if it's an endurance goal, like, hey, I can run a mile faster than I did like a month ago. Okay, that's a great measurable goal. Or clothing size. That's a way better weight loss measurement is your clothing sizes, okay? Or taking pictures or whatever it is, but something that's measurable. The A is for achievable, so it's got to be something that again is realistic, something that you can do. So if your goal is to bench press 300 pounds, but you don't have access to a bench, a barbell, or 300 pounds of weight, it's really not achievable, right? So it's got to be something that you're actually capable of doing and you have the equipment available, you have the means, okay? Relevant, it's got to be something that is going to be relevant to you, it's going to be important to you. And then time bound, okay? Set yourself a time limit to do this thing. Otherwise, if your goal is just to lose weight and you don't give yourself a time limit, you're not going to be focused on that goal. Okay. But if you say, I want to lose 1 pound, in the next 2 weeks, that's perfect. Okay. You're setting yourself a time limit. That's why I'm a huge fan of signing up for races, events, like whatever it is, because they have specific dates and it keeps you focused. Okay, at least it does for me and for most people that I work with. I love doing that. So for me, it's like that's why I started doing high rocks is because I felt myself kind of like straying a little bit. So I did that to get myself back on track. It worked great. 5K races, if running is your thing or walking or whatever, there's 5K races pretty much year round. So if that's your thing, find a 5K race, sign up for it, and you've got a specific date. Okay, something to work towards. So a really good example of a goal would be something like, I want to lose 10 pounds in 2 months. Okay. Totally achievable. You can easily lose 10 pounds in 2 months. The 2 month, it's realistic, like I said. It sets a time frame. It's relevant to your goals if you have a weight loss goal, and it's measurable, right? So it checks all the boxes as far as SMART goals go. All right. So when you start off, assess your starting point. So again, it's really good to measure things because then you can see your progress. Seeing that progress is super motivating. Or if you're not seeing that progress, knowing where you started from and being able to make adjustments along the way is super helpful. Okay. And having that data, something that's concrete and that you can see, whether it's paper, whether it's pictures, like however you want to record it. But start, depending on what your goals are, start with your health checkup. Like go see your doctor, get a physical, get your blood work done, find out where your starting point is. That's super helpful, especially like blood work. If you're like on borderline for cholesterol, like, diabetes, whatever, when you start and then, work on yourself, do a couple months of work and then get your blood taken again, do another blood test and see like how that's changed. super motivating. And again, like those goals, I love those goals way more than like the weight loss goals because that's like the internal stuff that's going to keep you around longer. And then the weight loss stuff, that'll come as a result of that. It's a byproduct of that. Once you start cleaning up your diet and you're moving more, like the weight loss comes pretty easy. So, but track your weight, your body measurements, take pictures, like make note of your energy levels. Like when you're starting off, if you're napping like every afternoon, and then after a few weeks, you find that I've had somebody do this. Like when we started, like he was napping every single day and he didn't want to do that. And then after a few weeks, he wasn't even really thinking about it anymore, but he realized like, oh my gosh, I haven't taken a nap in weeks. So that's a huge judge of your progress right there. But take measurements, take photos. I always have my athletes do that in the beginning, and I always tell them the same thing. It sucks when you start off doing that. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to take before pictures. They're absolutely terrible. I get it. But it's important to do, and they're just for you. You know, they're for you. You don't need to share them with anybody. But they're for you, and it can really, like, really see your progress, and that's super motivating. Everybody that I work with, I always urge them to do this. Half the people do it. The ones that don't do it, after a few weeks, they've made all kinds of progress and they're like, man, I wish I would have taken those pictures to really see it. And that's the thing with those, you can't go back and do it. So like I said, it sucks. It's hard to do it. It's terrible, but it's important to do. It'll keep you focused. It'll keep you on track. And it's another thing that holds you accountable. So if you are doing measurements every 4 to 6 weeks and you know that you've got pictures and measurements coming up in a couple of weeks, you want to make sure that those are better than the ones that you did last time. So that's going to keep you accountable and keep you focused on your goal and moving forward. Okay. And making progress. All right. I'm gonna cut these down because I feel like I'm getting long-winded. Oops, sorry. I go back. Oh man, I don't know how to go back one. Oh shoot, hold up. There we go. I figured it out. Create an action plan. Okay. So don't just, it's great if your goal is to go to the gym more, that's awesome. But you're only halfway there. Okay. It's great to get in the gym, but don't just go in there and just wander around and just do random stuff. That drives me absolutely crazy. Like I said, it's great that you got in the gym, but have a plan when you get there. Okay. It doesn't need to be super elaborate, but have some type of plan going in. All right. There is really no excuse not to have a plan there. You can Google stuff, you can get on YouTube, Instagram, you can reach out to a certified personal trainer and get help with that. Okay. There's really no reason just to be wandering in the gym and just winging it. Your results, doing that are not going to be great. And then you're just kind of setting yourself up for failure because you're going to start telling yourself, well, I've been going to the gym, but I'm just not seeing any results. Well, yeah, you've been going to the gym, but you don't have a specified plan. You're just kind of like winging it. So expect those type of results. Okay. If you're just kind of nonchalant about it. All right. As far as meal planning goes, like plan your meals around whole foods and proper nutrition. Okay. Pre-plan your meals, do a little food prepping. It doesn't take like 6 hours a week to do food prepping. I'll typically have my people, because nobody has that time, including me. So I'll typically have people prep like one or two protein sources for the week and have those on hand. So whether that is throwing some chicken in a crock pot, grilling an extra steak or two, have a couple salmon fillets like on hand, having that available, readily available, and then just throwing like a 5 minute like bag of steamed vegetables or rice or whatever along with that thing, and now you've got a great like healthy food option for a meal. Super easy. And then schedule your workout times and set reminders for those. Okay, that's the big thing. If you are gonna like ever like find time to work out, it's never gonna happen. So you've got to make time for that. So schedule that time for yourself because I can bet, and you've probably heard me say this before, I can bet you guys are all successful people. You have busy lives, so I'm sure that you have all your meetings, all your work stuff, all your events like scheduled out, whether it's in your phone on an old school like paper calendar, on a dry erase board, whatever it is, but it's planned out. So why should that time for yourself, whether it's training, whether it's food prepping, whether it's meditating, whatever it is that you want to do, why should that time be any less important than any of those other meetings? So make sure that you're making those meetings that you plan for yourself, write them down, plan them out, and chances are they're going to happen a lot more times than not. Okay, so start small. The biggest thing that I see, I like to start small with people and then build up. Okay. The biggest mistake that I see people make, and I love it, and I always tell my athletes too, like I love it when people start out, they're gung-ho, they're ready to make a change, they're ready to devote themselves to it. And then they jump into it. So they go from going to the gym 0 days a week to going to the gym 5 or 6 days a week and not eating any sugar or totally cutting out like whatever food that they want to cut out. And it lasts for 2, 3 weeks or less, and then they just can't do it. They snap, and then they're just before you know it, they're totally right back to square one. So don't do too much too soon. Okay. Again, it's going to lead to some inconsistency when you fall off it. It's also going to lead to some injury. If you are not used to training and going to the gym on a consistent basis and go from 0 to 5 days a week, your chances of getting injured are probably going to be pretty high. So you want to start small. Okay. Start with something small, manageable, something that doesn't take too much effort because your goal should be to create a habit around this thing. So if you want to create a habit, it's got to be something that doesn't take a whole lot of effort that you can do without a lot of thought or too much work. So whether that is just going for a 30-minute walk like 1 or 2 times a week or planning like 1 or 2 healthy meals during the week, that's a great way to start. It's small, it's manageable, and then you can build upon those small wins and build some consistency over that. And before you know it, you are going to the gym like 4 or 5 days a week and you're eating like, 21 healthy meals a week. So focus on forming those habits rather than getting those quick results. And I get it. Again, I could do a whole video on mindset when it comes to quick results, but realize that this, if you're doing it correctly and if you're doing it for the long term, this is a slow process. Okay. And it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be 10, 20 pounds in a week and a bunch of shortcuts. I'm just making sure I'm still alive. I'm good. Or if people have questions. It's not supposed to be like that if you want it to be long term. So anything worth working for or worth earning is worth waiting for and really like working for it. So again, realize this is a slow process. All right. Okay. I think we're in the home stretch. So find support and accountability. Accountability is huge. It was for me. It still is. And for the majority of athletes that I work with, accountability is number one. All right. Having yourself accountable to somebody other than just you, your chances of being successful are going to be a lot greater. I think you'd agree with me. So whether that is joining a group, whether it's a group of friends, going to a gym, going to group classes, like a High Rocks class at Gnarly Fit, or going with a friend to the gym. It's intimidating for people to go to the gym by themselves, but you bring a friend with you, you're way more confident. All right. So do that. Hire a coach or a personal trainer. Like I said, even if it's not me, just hire somebody else that's good, that you trust, that you have a good relationship with, that you work well with, that you just have a good vibe. But hire a professional if you need help. And then share your goals with family and friends. Okay. I always tell people that if you don't tell anybody what your goal is and you just kind of keep it in your own head, doesn't really mean as much because if you don't reach that goal, you decide not to pursue that goal anymore and you never told anybody, nobody really knows. Nobody's the wiser, right? But as soon as you tell a friend about it, tell a family member, post it on Facebook, whatever it is, write it down, share it with somebody. Now it becomes a real thing. You breathe life into it. It becomes a real thing. And now it's not so easy just to walk away from that thing and forget about it and no one ever knew. Because people now are going to hold you accountable. You told them you were going to do this, so they're going to check in with you and they're going to say, hey, how's that diet going? I hate using that word. How's that workout program going? How's it going? And they're going to expect an update. So you don't want to, when you are accountable to somebody else, you don't want to let that person down. So you'll tend to be more focused and work towards those goals. All right, so realize that setbacks are part of the process, and most people don't ever plan for this. All right, they think that once they start training, once they start working out, like the universe is going to fall into line and everything's going to be super sweet, and they're going to be motivated every day, and it's just going to be awesome. And that's not the way it works. So, but like I said, most people don't plan for that. So then when they do have a setback, back. They didn't plan for it. They don't know how to handle it. They get super discouraged, frustrated, and then they quit, at the first little setback. Whether that is they jump on the scale and instead of losing a pound, they gain two. And they're like, oh my God, I'm killing myself. And I did this myself. So I am speaking from experience. Everything that I talk about, I did all these things myself. So I lived this I know exactly how it feels. I made all the excuses, I made all the mistakes, and that's how I learned. So that's another part of this is learning from your setbacks. Um, but anyway, so you gain 2 pounds and you're like, oh my God, I've been killing myself. I've been in the gym. I have been, not eating and starving myself, and I'm gaining weight. Forget it. This isn't working. Um, those things are going to happen. All right. The important thing is to realize it, first of all, that that's going to happen. So if that does happen to you, you're not surprised by it, and it's not going to totally derail you. All right. If you kind of like know that it's part of the process. So, like I said, learn from your mistakes, take a look and see, okay, what is off here? Okay. And be honest with yourself, be realistic with yourself. Okay. And then celebrate your small wins along the way. Okay, don't overlook those. So many people get focused so much on the long-term goal is that they perceive anything other than achieving that long-term goal as a failure. It's not. So I always try to remind my people, like, even if you're losing a pound a week, that's what I want you to do. That's typically my goal for people. Um, you add though, it might seem like insignificant, but you do that over 2, 3 months, you've lost 25, 30 pounds now. And that's pretty significant. And you've done it in a way where it hasn't been like super, super restrictive. It was manageable. You're still enjoying your life and you're still doing the program 26 to 30 weeks later. Okay. So keep those things in mind. All right. Track and reflect. I kind of already talked about this, but make sure that you are keeping track of your progress so that if you do have little plateaus or you're seeing little obstacles, you can look back and see, okay, I'm doing different, or what am I doing different now than I was in the beginning when I was still getting results. Um, but it's good to always like tweak things. Just realize like your program can change. It's not set in stone. Just because you start it one way doesn't mean you can't totally like change things up a little bit. The important thing is to make it work for you. My whole goal when I work with people is to develop a program that works around their life, not the other way around. I'm not going to develop a program where they have to change their whole life to meet the needs of the program. That's not the way it works. If you want to be successful, you've got to make the program work with your life, with your work schedule, with your family, with whatever else you have going on, all your other responsibilities. It's got to be something that works for you if you want to do this for the long term. All right. And then keep moving forward. So remember that progress is not linear. All right. Progress is not linear. It's not going to happen like steadily progress. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to go off on little tangents sometimes. That's the way that it's supposed to be. That's how we learn. That's how we grow and progress. And we're always refining the process. Okay. Don't get so wrapped up on the end goal. Instead, like work on refining the process, doing it better, doing it a little bit more efficiently, making it easier for yourself. Okay. And learning from that. And focus on the journey, not just the outcome, like I already said. If you focus so much on the outcome, you're missing all the magic of the journey. And that sounds kind of flowery, I get it. But really, like you've got to appreciate the setbacks. Like look at those as obstacles, like but as challenges, that you can overcome. And that when you do overcome those things, you're going to be so much stronger and more resilient for it. All right. All right. So as far as like getting started, don't wait till Monday. Don't wait till after the new year. Just get started today. That's the biggest thing that I always tell people. They always ask me, well, should I wait till after the holiday because it's really busy, or should I wait till Monday? And I always tell people, no. You've waited long enough. What's the point in putting it off 1 or 2 more weeks? What is the point of that? All you're doing is you're gaining 1 or 2 more pounds. You're getting a little less mobile. You're getting your endurance is going down a little bit more. So you're like you keep like moving the start line back. Okay. Don't do that to yourself. You've waited long enough. Just get started. It doesn't have to be something huge. It can be a very small step. Okay. You can be starting with the next bite of food that you put into your mouth. It can be that small. Okay. It doesn't need to be a huge gesture, very small. But the important thing is to get started. Right. Okay, that was it. Let me get into all my stuff here. So if you liked this video, and I will end up putting this on my YouTube channel. I started a YouTube channel a few weeks ago so that videos like this and my other ones have a home. So you don't have to like search through my profile to see like my old videos. So you can get on there. There's a bunch of them on there. I put new ones on every week. And this, like I said, this one will end up on there too. So go to check that channel out. I'd appreciate if you subscribe to it, obviously, like it, comment on them, all that good stuff. All right. Uh, and then I also coach a group class at Gnarly Fit in Kalamazoo. If you're looking to like push your limits, build your endurance, or if you have a High Rocks or Spartan race or Deca race or whatever coming up, um, like come check us out at Gnarly Fit because so we've got a couple of coaches that are experienced just for that. And we've totally got you covered. So we've got all the equipment, the training, the expertise to help you on all that. But if your intention is not to race at all, it is a great like functional fitness workout that'll increase your endurance. Obviously, you're going to get you stronger, going to get you moving better, just all around increase your fitness. So come check it out. That runs right now Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. at Gnarly Fit in Kalamazoo. And then, as always, if you have questions, like feel free to DM me or book a free phone call where I can answer any questions that you might have or help you set goals, like whatever it is. I just want to be able to help you guys. But if you really want to make some serious progress towards your health and fitness goals, and have a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach guiding you every step of the way, then take 2 minutes to fill out a training application that I'll put in the comments, and then let's see if we'd be a good fit for that. So let me stop sharing my screen. That's all I had tonight, guys. I hope you got some kind of value out of that. Thanks for checking out this video. If you were here, I saw a few of you guys were here. Catch it on the replay. I appreciate you. Head over to my YouTube channel. Check out my new website. It's just got updated. Super happy with the way that it looks. It's really cool. There's a bunch of freebies on there. So if you there's all kinds of stuff on there. So there's free resources on there. There's from workouts to meal plans to recipes to things to improve your sleep. Like it's all on there. So go to the website and check that out. I'll also put a link to that in the comments. But that's all I had. Other than that, guys, have a great night. Have a great rest of the weekend and stay healthy, my friends.